Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the. I'm not well, by the way, to the Rangers Rabble podcast. This is your pre-match build-up for Rangers against Livingston at Ibrox. There is other games going on just now that we're not going to talk about unless it becomes relevant to talk about them. So, if you want to fire away in the comments, by all means, fire away with your stuff. But we won't be mentioning any other games in Scotland until it becomes feasible to talk about them. I am joined today by Connor. Connor, my friend, how are you?
Not too bad, looking forward to what I'm hoping should be a fairly comfortable afternoon for us at Ibrox, up against a Livy team who are really, really poor. And I think have not won a game in about 15 now. So I'm hopeful that we'll get a decent game today, and maybe Big Fabio Silva can finally get a goal.
Well, maybe, possibly. It's not always easy to go up against teams that aren't playing well, and sometimes it's difficult even to go up against teams that don't have a manager. But sometimes teams find a way. Sometimes they find a way. And for the very first time joining us on the podcast, a brand new addition, all the way from sunny Aberdeen, is Alex. Alex, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good to be making my debut. Hopefully, something fairly straightforward today. As I said, you can't. Livingston have been absolutely hopeless. As I said, couldn't hopefully ask for an easier game, but we don't want to count our chickens. But hoping for goals basically. It's one of these games. Sometimes you're like, oh, it's just the win. Don't worry about performance. But I think we're all wanting. Obviously, the win's everything, but we want to see some goals today. As I said, Silva. Today's the day, especially with some of the context that you're probably going to have a chat about. Today's the day we really want him putting his hand up, saying, I'm a striking option. None of this. He's not really he's a striker. He wasn't really a striker. Hopefully today a goal or two, and then that'll settle things down a bit with regards to that.
I think it's actually probably, Alex, is probably vitally important that we see that for Silva, because we need options. We don't have options. So it's probably quite a big game for Silva as well. But we'll discuss that and Denzel. Never mind the game. I just hope Martin makes it through the afternoon. I don't do well when I'm ill. I'm not a very good patient. I feel really sorry for myself. So we shall wait and see. And channel member header, lemon and ginger tea bags, Martin, you'll be fine. No chance. It's Tetley or nothing. Right. Okay. So today's starting lineup is Jack Butland in goals, and then it's Tav, Goldson, Balogun, and Barisic. We'll discuss that as well. And it's a midfield three of Lundstrom, Jack, and Cantwell, and then a front three of McCausland, Matondo, and the aforementioned Silva. So, Alex, just off the bat, what do you make of that starting lineup? I'm guessing if you were going to test and rotate, Livingston at home's probably the game to do that.
Yeah. We know Clement likes to mix it up a bit. He's not been one of these managers so far that's like, here's my first 11, and they're out every game until something goes wrong. He's been using and so far it's been absolutely fine. He's been chopping and changing a bit with the squad, so no problem with that. And as you said, Livingston, you couldn't get a better game for that, I suppose. Yeah, Barisic kind of back in. This kind of game, I don't think he's going to be hopefully tested too much defensively or anything. And as I said, Silva's the big one for me. I'm pleased that Silva's got a start because, as I said, with the context of the lack of striking options, we really want Silva to be. We don't just want to be, Dessers is the striker and Silva's kind of backup. We want him really kind of competing for that starting striking role with Dessers. So there's absolutely no better opportunity today to. I mean, he really needs a goal basically today, and hopefully that'll come. There'll be a lot of chances. Matondo, I notice these days Matondo gets a bit of criticism. I'm still kind of in a little bit of the, at the start of the season, I thought Matondo looked a totally different player, made a great start to the season. Just looked, very kind of, Sakala at his best-esque, just absolutely terrifying defenders with pace. And obviously the question marks over his his finishing and his kind of coolness with finishing. But I thought he started the season really well, and there was a lot of kind of hype about him. And then it was the injury, wasn't it? And he came back, and it was almost like people had kind of reverted back to how they thought about him before his good start to the season. I never quite got that, because he's come back from injury. He hasn't had too many minutes, and then I think the start he got, he was subbed with 10 minutes to go. He gets an assist away to Hibs that game. So I'm pretty positive about Matondo. He's one of these players that, as I said, pace absolutely terrifies defenders. So if he can get the end product right, then
that's always been the issue, though. That's always been the issue for us with Matondo, Alex. It's always been that end product. But just before we carry on, we're going to hear from the manager. It'd be interesting to get his thoughts on the starting lineup. He has spoken to Rangers TV. Don't worry, folks, it's only a couple of minutes. You'll get to hear my dulcet tones again very, very soon. But let's hear from Philippe Clement ahead of today's game against Livingston.
Philippe, Livingston in the Scottish Premiership this afternoon. How have preparations been in the build-up to this one?
Really good. No big issues. Only Dujon had small overuse of his muscle, so it will not be a problem for the rest of the week. But it was too dangerous to take him in the selection, and for the rest, everybody had a really good training week. Everybody's really excited to be back here also. It feels like ages ago that we played at Ibrox for a competitive game, so we're looking forward to that.
Oscar Cortes is on the bench, Mohamed Diamonde not in the squad. How have they been settling in these very early stages?
Yeah, good. It's of course everything is new. New country, new team, new players, new playing style. Only 1 or 2 trainings, so it's really new for them. But I took Oscar in the selection because Dujon is not there, and we don't have many possibilities for the moment in front. And for an attacking player, they can do something individual also. He played a few days ago also 88 minutes, so he has the rhythm to play also. For Dio, it's different because his last game that he played was end of November. And so we need to rebuild him a bit the next couple of weeks, but he's somebody with a good engine, so it will go fast.
In terms of the game and Livingston, what are you expecting from them today?
Team will make a wall with a lot of tall guys, very physical team. They're going to make the spaces really small for us and count on their transitions. And for sure, the set pieces, they're really strong on set pieces with all the height they have. So we need to look out not to give away easy corners, free kicks all over the pitch and to play our game and keep the tempo really high to get them out of positions and to get dangerous attacks like we're used to playing.
You mentioned Sterling there, Connor. Injured again. It's nothing too serious. He should be okay for the rest of the week. That's the one slight issue I've got with Sterling is he does tend to pick up these little knocks.
He does, yeah. I mean, it's kind of we're that kind of team right now where we've got one too many players, I think, that like to pick up a wee knock here or there. But listen, hopefully, as you say there, it's not too serious, and maybe he just misses a game and doesn't really, he can be back midweek or even by next weekend. Interesting to see whether or not Cortes is obviously on the bench. But interesting to see whether he actually makes an appearance or not today. I could see it happening because I think if we get a couple of goals up and we're looking all right in the game, maybe an hour, 70, 75 minutes in, I can see him coming on for that last period of time there to get minutes in the legs. And these are the kind of games, as you mentioned there, you can kind of, without taking a complete liberty, obviously a total liberty, you can, make a couple of wee changes, and you can, if there's a game you're going to miss a player like Sterling, this is probably one that you don't mind missing him in, because we should be able to, get over the hurdle that is Livingston today. And I mean, don't be wrong, I agree with Clement in terms it's not always easy when you're playing against teams that will, play that low block and sit in and make it stuffy and hard for you to break them down. But it's certainly been interesting to see how Lundstram and Jack perform together, because that's one that's always raised eyebrows. I think we've always looked at that as when you play Lundstram and Jack, is that a more negative formation because it's, you know, two very similar, more sort of midfielders that play a similar role. But I think we should be absolutely fine. I'm hoping we will see Cortes, and obviously, you know, Silva gets his opportunity as well. But you can't legislate for injuries. I think sometimes you just have to play the cards you're dealt, and that's what he's done today. Because I don't think for a second, if Sterling was fit, that would have been seeing Ryan Jack and John Lundstram as a partnership. I think Sterling would have been in there. So, you know, it is what it is. I just hope that, as I say, there Sterling's only missing a game, maybe two, at the most.
Let's take a look at the starting 11, then we'll come back to that at Cortes in a wee second, Alex. But if we take a look at the starting 11, then we take a look at the back four in particular. For the back five, Butland speaks for himself, obviously. Then it's Tav, Goldson, Balogun and Barisic. Two changes to that team, then Balogun and Barisic coming in for Ridvan and Suter. The manager has spoken about rotation quite a lot. For me, I'm one of these old-fashioned guys where I like my back four, back five to kind of not change as much. I certainly don't like it when you change two of your left-sided players.
Yeah, I think I'm in that place where rotation's great until it isn't, and it's like rotate all you want and we keep winning, brilliant. Because obviously the more players that are kind of getting involved and staying sharp and things, then great. But as I said, it's one of those things. If anything does go wrong, obviously today we're not expecting, but the fingers pointed at rotation. It's like, well, why are you rotating? But hopefully today that won't be an issue. I mean, I think Balogun's in there. There was the issue with the European squads, wasn't it? That Balogun's been left out of the European squad. So yeah. I wonder whether you're going to be my man. Maybe it's as simple as that. Maybe he's going to say, if you're fit, you're going to start domestically. Obviously, if we've got 3 games in a week all domestic, that might change. But certainly Balogun would be. I saw an interview with him and he was kind of, you know, he said, you know, I think I've really earned getting into that European squad. But because the numbers were so small that Clement could chop and change, he's been really unlucky and left out. So I'm glad to see him get a start. And my suspicion is he's maybe been told, you know, domestically, you're going to be my kind of, obviously Goldson's always number one choice, but you're going to be my second choice in there at centre back. So yeah, no, it's good. And as I said, Barisic, I've got a problem with Barisic. Everyone feels like we're kind of getting to the end of the road with him, obviously, but in a game like this, you know, we know where Barisic's Achilles heel has been, where that's been, but at home against Livingston, you know, we're not worried about that. So yeah, I'm happy enough with that. And Cortes, I think he's going to get on. Hopefully he's going to maybe get on just even 5 minutes, whatever, at the end. Hopefully if the game's won, because as I said, I just think the fans maybe need a little bit of positivity. That the transfer window didn't quite go to plan without the addition of the striker. So I think seeing him out there will just give everyone a boost. And yeah, even if it's just 5 minutes at the end, just to get on and get the applause and everything, I think that'll lift the mood if it needs lifted. But yeah, no, as I said, totally happy with that starting 11. It's not a game where you're going to complain about it afterwards. Just yeah, absolutely fine for me.
No, but it is a game that you're going to complain, Connor, if you don't play great and the worst happens, if you get what I'm saying. It's just, I get that. Sorry, somebody's just put channel member Brian, I believe it's finished Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. If somebody can tell me what that means for the league table, because I haven't been catching up with the league table. Does that mean that we can go top today?
Basically, the gap was 2 points. The gap. So if we win our games in hand, the gap was 2 points. Yeah. So that means that if we win our games in hand, we're going to be all square, and you have to check the table. But presumably, second difference.
Yeah.
If we beat, so we've obviously our second game in hand, I believe, is obviously St Johnstone at Ibrox. So assuming we win the other games as well, if we win that game, that would level us up on points with Celtic. Obviously, there's the goal difference.
I see, Connor, I'm further ahead in the future. I'm thinking that we've already played that game. I've not looked at the league table for ages. I'm thinking they were only 2 points ahead. But there you go.
But listen, it still presents a good opportunity, though. I mean, now you're in a situation, win the day, which we should do, and you can really make the pressure on them because, even taking that game in hand to one side, I think, if I'm not mistaken, midweek, I'm sure we play first against the Sheep on Tuesday night. Win that game, we go leveling points, and then they travel away to Hibs on Wednesday night. Therefore, pressures that's real pressure you can apply to them. It's not just you've got a gap; it's now you don't have any gap. Your gap is goal difference. So it's an opportunity, but that's all it is. We need to make sure we take it because we've seen this rodeo before. We've all been there, seen them drop points, and then we end up doing the unthinkable or something like that. So, but I don't suspect that that'll be the case today. As I say, if there was a game you could have handpicked that you'd want to play, it probably would be Livingston at Ibrox just now. So, yeah, it's one of those ones. I'm only happy that they drop points when we take advantage of it because it doesn't matter if we don't take advantage of it. So let's hope that's exactly what we do today and obviously going forward.
But it is a massive boost. It's a massive boost, Alex, regardless of before the game starts. This is saying to these players, look, go out there, win that game, win it comfortably, win it with a bit of style, and we put loads of pressure on them.
Yeah, I mean, I think players these days, they're so drilled into the kind of one game at a time, don't bother looking at the league table. What you'd hear Clement say, that's what you'd say, isn't it? We're not interested in the league table at the moment. So don't look at that. So I think...
Yeah, but that's just a lie, Alex, isn't it? That is a total lie.
Well, yeah. Certainly for fans, it makes a massive difference to us. But I think what the pressure is, I don't think Celtic are going to be under pressure so much from looking at a league table and if we play first or anything. I think the biggest pressure they're going to be under is from their fans. Because I think they were... What was their previous match? They won 1-0, scraped 1-0, Ross County at home. And... from what I gather, they were absolutely raging after that. Even though they'd won the match, it was a deflected goal. I think County maybe had a couple of chances towards the end. So the mood was pretty bad there. They've now finished the transfer window, and they're not happy with that. So and then now they've just drawn up at Aberdeen in a match they probably thought was an absolute guaranteed 3 points. So no, it's all good. As I said, Clement can come out and say that we're not interested in what they do and everything like that. But the general mood that gets through to the players. There's no doubt about that. When the nerves kick in during a performance, how quickly do the fans start getting up? The next home game or whatever they play. It definitely plays a role for sure. But in terms of league tables, I'm not sure they're going to be too fussed with that. But in terms of the nervousness of their fans and the general mood, that definitely filters through. So. All good. Hopefully we do the business today. I mean, today feels like one of these. I can remember under Gerrard 55 season, you were going into games like this, and you were genuinely thinking, it's not so much are we going to win, and you were kind of thinking, well, is it going to be 4 or 5? It's getting to that. Clement's kind of earning that trust. We're maybe not quite there yet, but it's heading towards there. So hopefully, as I said, the 3 points and everything, but hopefully we can get a few goals. And as I said, if it's going to come down to maybe in a few games' time, once we've caught up, if it's going to come down to goal difference, then as I said, get a few goals today. Because at the end of the day, in a close title race, goal difference is a point. At the end of the day, if it's really close, it is a point. So as I said, hopefully a few goals today, and it will be a brilliant weekend.
Listen, we won on Sunday goal difference, so it doesn't matter how you slice it. Goal difference, as you say, is absolutely as good as a point if you can get it. And to be fair, I think the fact is, Clements took over a side who are 8 points behind, and he's got an opportunity now to completely eradicate that to a 0 point gap. And obviously, somebody put in the comments there, which I think is a good point. with them drawing, that does give us the opportunity as well to eat into that goal difference today.
We've got 2 games, Connor. We've got 2 games, Connor, to score 5 goals.
Yeah, and listen, personally, having seen us play Livingston at Ibrox twice this season and put 8 past them in both those games, 4 each, obviously, then there's no reason why we can't go out and get a couple of goals. The key is, though, I always say in these games, Martin, is if you can get a goal as early as possible, because the longer a game goes on and they're stuffy and they're playing that low block and you've no scored, their confidence just gets bigger and bigger, and then it gets harder for you to find a way through. Whereas if you score early, they can't just sit with they eventually have to try do something, and more often than not the floodgates open. So that's what I'm hoping that we see the day. But we're needing the boys in the front three, McCausland, Matondo and Silva, to step up and a good bit of service for the midfield, and I think we should be absolutely grand.
Well, Connor, let's take it to the midfield then. Lundstram and Jack, a pairing that I can't remember the last time they 2 started together, to be honest, Connor. But a pairing that leaves you feeling a lot more comfortable defensively, albeit we don't really need it.
Exactly. Aye, that's the weird thing about it. Like, I look at that pair and go, yeah, I feel much more comfortable about us defensively. I think we'll be solid, but how many attacks are Livy really going to have on us? Like, listen, in any game of football, they might get 1 or 2 bits of possession in the ball where they'll get an opportunity, but it's the kind of game that you don't really need that. That being said, though, listen, I wouldn't discount the attacking threat that both Ryan Jack and John Lundstram they do possess, because Lundstram more so than Jack, I will say, but listen, Ryan Jack has on occasion popped up with a decent goal here or there. And one of the things I like actually about Ryan Jack, which I feel we've got some players in midfield maybe don't do often enough, he's not afraid if it opens up for him to actually have a goal for distance. Sometimes we see like Cantwell, Lundstram or whatever, it might open up a wee half yard of space for them, and instead of having the shot, they're looking for the extra pass to the wing. And I get that because that's how we play. I think Jack's a bit different. If he gets a yard or 2 of space, he'll probably have a goal. So, it's certainly interesting. But look, if you're Ryan Jack, you've got to see this as an opportunity to put yourself back in a manager's thinking properly, because to be perfectly honest with you, and I like Ryan Jack, although I know some people don't, you can't argue the fact that he's clearly, because of the injury, how long he's been out, and then because of how well Dujon Sterling's been doing, he's kind of fell behind Sterling in the pecking order, even fully fit right now. So it's an opportunity for him to put in a performance and a shift and prove that he can have that good partnership with John Lundstram going forward. The one thing he can't be doing today, we can't be seeing too many backwards passes, because you're playing Livingston. We shouldn't really have to be. It's not like they're going to be pressing as high up the park and in our faces, really. So it'll be an interesting one to see. But as you say, it's that weird feeling of, I feel great defensively. I'm just interested to see what they're going to do going forward in an attacking sense.
Yeah. If you think back to Jack at his absolute peak under Gerrard, I always think back to that game up at Ross County where he scored 2 and just absolutely fantastic. Attacking wise, he's capable of getting forward, playing the 1-2s, breaking into the box. He's definitely capable of that. So hopefully we see that today. As I said, you'd think Lundstram seems to have made that position of it his own, of kind of picking it up as the anchor and spraying it around. So hopefully Jack and Cantwell have just been, presumably, surely they've been told that there's an attacking focus on their game. And Jack's definitely capable of that. Jack's just kind of tragic, isn't he? One of these stories of a player with so much ability, and as I said, it's just his injury record speaks for itself. And he's one of these guys that you just think we're not going to see too much longer, because sooner or later he's going to break down again. But whilst he's fit, he can still be really effective. I've thought he's looked sharp when I've seen little moments of him coming off the bench and things. So he seems to be doesn't seem to be one of these players that is injured, then comes back and takes a long time to get up to speed. He seems to be, when he comes into the team, he does a good job, and then obviously he's out of it too quickly. But so hoping to see a good game from him today.
I mean, and if we take a quick look at the bench, actually, I'll come back to the first team in a minute, Connor, but McCrory, Ridvan, Suter, Dessers, Lawrence, Cortes, Scott Wright, King, and Raskin. I'm not saying it's a magnificent bench, Connor, but it's certainly a strong enough bench, in my opinion anyway, to be able to come on and change a game if it needs changed.
I 100% agree. You know, I mean, look, realistically, and again, I never want to get, you know, too ahead of myself and just completely write off Livy altogether because, you know, it isn't as if it's a Division 2 side we're playing. It is still a league game, so anything can happen. But we shouldn't need them to come on and change the game. They should be coming on more for minutes in the legs. Can they go and add to what we've already been doing? But it's comparatively with benches we've had recently, it's a stronger looking bench. I think when you look at, you know, the likes of you know, Raskin, Wright, Ridvan, Lawrence, Dessers, I mean, you know, these are good options to have on the bench. And for me, it's probably the best looking bench we've had probably in a couple of months because there's not as many young boys on the bench as there has been in prior times. I think is it only Leon King, I think, is probably the only really younger lad that's on there. So
well, Cortes is 20, isn't he?
Cortes, so, but yeah, I was sort of meaning for like our academy side, but and Cortes, of course, he's only 20. So no, if the game needs changing, then there's definitely players that we've got on there that can do that. Dessers is interesting for me actually because I thought he might have started just on the basis that you know, he's on
a decent run of form.
Yeah, he's a decent run. He scored the winner against St Mirren. But then again, come on, I'd be thinking, well, he was on the bench against Hibs, came on, and the first thing he did was score. So you never know. But you know, again, that's an option that he's got there now if he needs to change it. And at some point he will. Obviously, you know, Silva won't do the full 90 minutes anyway, so that is a change we will see. But I'm more than happy with that bench if we need to change things. I think there's more than enough on there to suggest that they can make a difference.
Can I just say to everybody as well, as channel member Stephen is reminding you in the comments, if you're watching on YouTube, please do give us a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and spread to more Rangers supporters, and it just helps the algorithm on YouTube and helps more people find us. But what he's also asking as well, Alex, is, and I know you've already mentioned this, but do we see Cortes today? Now, he did say in his pre-match that the only reason that Cortes is on the bench is obviously because Sterling's out injured. Was that maybe a wee note to say we probably won't see him today because he's literally just arrived at the club? Or if we are, let's get ahead of ourselves here, right? If we are 3-4-0 up with 15 minutes to go, does he throw him on?
4-0.
Yeah, I'd like to see him. As I said, because of the issue with the transfer window, I think it would be good to see him come on, and even if it's just 5-10 minutes towards the end. As I said, it's because wasn't it Diomande? He's come out and said that he's not quite ready to go. He's had a long pause since he's played, but Cortes, I think he played almost 90 minutes a week ago or something. Quite recently, so he should be up to speed. So I would like to see him. As I said, hopefully by then we're a couple of goals up. I was just thinking that Dessers is an interesting one because part of me would like to see him get even maybe 15-20 minutes, keep up his momentum that he's had. Obviously, big improvement from the start of the season. Part of me would like to see him come on, get 15-20 minutes. But then another part of me is saying, maybe a bit more pessimistically, he's absolute gold dust at the moment for us, given our striking situation. And if we don't need to play him against Livingston, who, you know, you wouldn't put it past them to put on, you know, a lazy bad challenge towards the end of the game. Maybe if they're a few goals down, there's nothing much to play for. Maybe we wrap him in cotton wool. If we don't need to bring him on, we don't. But I think more positively, I'd like to see him get on 15-20 minutes, maybe grab a goal if they're tiring towards the end, grab a couple of goals and just keep that momentum up. And as I said, the theme of it is just we were all a little bit worried about our striking options. So Dessers, Silva, goals for them. A perfect day today. 4-5-6. a goal for Silva, a goal for Dessers, whatever. That would be absolutely perfection, wouldn't it? Clean sheet. That would be perfection. But yeah.
Now, Alex, every time somebody said that on here, it ends up a 1-0 win with a 90th minute goal. So you've just jinxed it. So if that happens, everybody, it's Alex's fault. It's his first time on the show, and he's jinxed the game already. But in all seriousness, Connor, we've got a chance, as the people have said in the comments, a good win today, and then there'll be, I would imagine, more rotation for Tuesday. We'll touch on that more, and obviously the phone in on Monday night. But we've got an opportunity today to play really well, score a few goals, and then rotate the squad for Tuesday and be top of the league Tuesday night.
We do. It's a massive opportunity that's presented itself, and I think it's one that they need to take, because I feel like these opportunities are the litmus tests. How much do you want that league title? How much do you want to fight for it? Because you can, as you say there, go top of the league if you just get 2 wins under your belt, 5 goals in 2 games. That should be more than achievable. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here pretending that, because we know what Aberdeen are like and what they'll do on Tuesday. If people think they played well against Celtic in the second half the other day, trust me, they could have the under-5s manager in that dugout. They would still turn up and put in a shift against us. That's just what they do. So it won't be easy on Tuesday night. But we are all, we're owed them one back for the embarrassment the last time they came to Ibrox. So you like to think that with that background and the opportunity presenting itself to us, that you would take it, get to the top of that league table. I mean, it's just, for me, the mere fact that we're even having this discussion at, a few months into the Clermont era, as it were, in the background of the fact we've obviously got a trophy in the cabinet as well, I think it's incredible in many ways. And I just hope that we don't mess it up. I hope we do take advantage of the situation that's presented itself. For me, that's what we've got to do. And listen, you never know what can happen as well. People saying there in the chat, well, go top for 24 hours. But Celtic will away to Hibs. And with the way that they're playing, both teams are playing, you can't really predict how that game will go. They could just as easily drop points there again as well. So you never know. I just think, yeah.
Can I just say, Connor, sorry to interrupt, right? Because I get in trouble with people in the comments for interrupting all the time. Right? It's just what I do, folks. If I get an idea in my head, I keep forgetting to bring a pad. But see, to be honest, for the younger people watching this, right? And I know, and I'm sorry, I'm going to offend a lot of people here. Our demographic is of, slightly older people. And when I say older, I'm talking about 30s onwards. We don't really get a lot of young people watching the Rabble for whatever reason, because I'm quite a young guy myself. Seeing the past, seeing years gone by, this is what a title race looked like. Teams would drop points, other teams would drop points, teams would go on a run and win, and at the end of the season there would only be a few points in it. This is a title race, and I think a lot of their supporters, Alex, I don't think can handle even just a bog standard title race. So if we go out today, we go out on Tuesday, they're that entitled that they think that they're due not having a title race. They just hand them the title every season. So we can put extraordinary amounts of pressure on Celtic.
Yeah, it's always a scary place to even think about their mentality. But think back to the 55 season. What was it? Chucking sharks around outside Parkhead after they got knocked out of the League Cup.
Sharks.
They were lobbing around the railings and stuff and attacking team buses and cars and everything. They absolutely lost it, and yeah, so I think there's a chance they could implode. But as I said, we've got to do our job as well, and we're just in a really good place at the moment. Clermont so far, I think. I'm not one of these ones where don't jinx it, all that kind of stuff. It's about being honest, and we're in a good place. We've got reason to be positive. We've got a manager who I think he's the best manager that we've had. Who knows where it's going to go, but on the evidence so far, I think he's the best manager that we've had since Walter. Gerrard, for everything Gerrard did, you always got the feeling that he was a rookie manager, kind of learning on the job. Whereas Clement's come in.
He did win a league, Alex. He did win a league, so I don't think you can quite say that about Clement yet until he wins a league.
Yeah.
Just my own personal thought.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. But I think based on what we've seen so far, as I said, he's 1 for 1 in terms of trophies so far. So who knows where it'll be at the end of the season? But we're in a really good place. And if I wasn't thinking positively, I wouldn't. If I wasn't speaking positively, I wouldn't be being honest, basically, because I think we're in a really good place. But as I said, we've got to keep doing our job, and I think we've got a manager there he says all the right things about the focus on one game at a time. He's definitely not going to be worrying about league tables, what they look like, and you can just guarantee questions will be put to him, and he'll just bat them away, because I think he's totally focused on the right things. So. Yeah,
and people are putting in the comments, you've got to remember Dick Advocate. He won a lot of trophies, and I know that his last 2 years didn't quite go to plan, but he did win a lot of trophies. But that's quite a good, a good discussion.
Since what was second spell? Yeah, since what was second spell? I mean, yeah.
well done, you cleared that up. Jim Sloan, a massive super chat, 56. Everybody's so confident now. What I would be remiss if I didn't say it, that there's a lot of time to go. So we can be happy on days like this if we then go out and get the result. But there's a lot of time to go. Things are looking good. And a massive thank you to Jim Sloan, who always supports the channel. It's greatly appreciated. So on all that, prediction time. Connor.
I'm gonna go for the scoreline that it has been on the last 2 occasions we've played Livy, and I'll go for Rangers 4, Livingston 0.
You know what I'm waiting on, Connor?
I know. I'm just trying to think of that. I'll go for. Do you know what? I'll go for Cantwell to get his first goal today.
That's a good shout. That is a good shout, Alex.
I was going to go 4-0 because I think we'll win. I think it will be convincing. I think the performance will be better. We haven't quite seen a Clement team absolutely destroy the team yet, so I was going to go 4-0. But given that's gone, just to be a bit different, as I said, I'm feeling positive. I'll go 5 today, and Silva first goal.
8-0. Silva first goal scorer. That's what I'm going for. My predictions don't usually come true. I don't know why, because I think they're quite reasonable. But yeah, there we go. So I'm going to go before my voice goes. So thank you, Connor. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Jim Sloan for his phenomenal super chat. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. We'll be back shortly after full time. If you're subscribed with notifications on, you will know exactly when we are coming back. So make sure you do that on the old YouTube. Give us a follow and a share on Facebook and a retweet and a follow on X or Twitter or whatever they're calling it these days. So go and enjoy the game, folks, and we will see you very, very soon after the full time whistle.